So Samsung's fresh new Galaxy S25 Edge goes on sale tomorrow for just over £1,000, making it almost as expensive as that wallet-pummeling S25 Ultra. That's quite a high price for something that's attracted more online hate than Jar Jar Binks and women combined. Well, I've been testing the Galaxy S25 Edge for a couple of weeks now, and I've also had my SIM slipped inside using it as my full-time phone this past week. So is all of that online ire actually deserved? Well, here's my full Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge review, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first up, yes indeed, the Galaxy S25 Edge is fap-inducingly thin at just 5.8 mils. As long as you ignore the camera bump bit, which pokes out a considerable distance and does result in some grade A jiggle action. But honestly, more impressive than the slender design is the lightweight finish. You see, the 6.7-inch smartphone weighs a mere 163 grams, so most people's immediate reactions to taking it off me isn't, "Oh, look at it, isn't it get narrow?" It's more like, hey, this thing weighs practically nothing compared with my massive crappy brick-like iPhone, which I never should have bought. Should have actually watched your review and heeded your advice, Uncle Spurt, please forgive me. You know, words to that effect. And even though it's only subtly curved at the corners, the Galaxy S25 Edge has some rather splendid hand feel, mostly thanks to that skinny, lightweight design. You've got yourself a titanium frame here on the Galaxy S25 Edge, same as the Ultra, while the front end is Gorilla Glass ceramic too, and the back end is a good bit of Victus. And the result is a reassuringly rugged device. As always, when I review smartphones, I kept the S25 Edge completely unsheathed the entire time, which did get a wee bit hairy when I dropped this thing onto a concrete floor corner first, albeit from a height of about 3 feet. But this thing bounced, and of course it cost well over £1,000, so it was still a testes ingesting moment. But mercifully, this seems to have caused only the slightest little bit of scuffing right there in said corner. And mercifully, that ceramic screen seems to have only picked up the tiniest wee nick over there at the edge. So weenie, I'm not even sure it'll get picked up on camera. But there's no pre-installed screen protector on here, so you might want to slap one on considering how pricey this phone is, and unfortunately no anti-glare finish, unlike what you get with the S25 Ultra and its Armor display. And the Galaxy S25 Edge is still IP68 water and dust resistant, as you would expect at this price, so no bother if you want to snap a few pool selfies or whatever. It's a simple but smart finish around back. This here is the Hero model, titanium silver, and absolutely everything is that colour, the arse, the edges, even the sexily titled linear camera bump. And yeah, it looks pretty slick, even if it's not the most pulse-pounding or crotch-flapping of designs or indeed colours. If you're not really a fan, you can alternatively get the S25 Edge in titanium jet black or titanium icy blue. I was certainly hoping for some more online exclusives in slightly bolder, brighter hues, but hopefully those will be coming soon. Now, as with the rest of the S25 blower family, what you've got here is OneUI 7 merrily spattered all over Android 15. And it certainly seems to be differentiating itself more from Android these days, with the likes of the separation of the notifications bar and the control center. However, just like Google, Samsung is generously offering a full 7 years of software support, including 7 OS upgrades. This is great news if you do want to keep it stuffed in your pants for the long haul, as long as you don't accidentally sit on it and bend it, I guess. And naturally, yes, the S25 Edge does suffer the usual OneUI foibles, including far too much repetition of Android services. You know, some things are worth having two of, like arse cheeks, so you're not constantly sat at a wonky angle. But 2 web browsers, 2 smart payment systems, 2 calendar apps, about as useful overall as tits on a fridge. Although to be fair, if they could actually dispense cold milk direct onto your Cocoa Pops without you having to actually bother opening the fridge, that would be pretty useful. And yes, of course, the S25 Edge is naturally packed full of AI-flavoured shenanigans. Bit of Gemini, Circle to Search, all of the usual good stuff. And Samsung has chucked quite a few AI bits of its own on here, including the good old Now briefings, which are frankly not much more than a glorified weather report, calendar update, You'll occasionally get a Spotify playlist suggestion chucked in there, which is kind of semi-smart because the S25 Edge has recognised I've done a lot of early morning workouts this past week because I've been away, so I do that in the morning at the hotel to justify the amount of beer and burgers I then shove down my throat. Unfortunately, the suggested playlist is stuff I would never ever listen to, stuff like Ed Sheeran, Kanye West, Diddy of all people. Frankly, I'd rather listen to a cat being slowly run over by a steamroller. And then you've got other random tossery like generative edit, which you can use to insert random stuff into photos what don't belong. But the likes of the interpretation translation tools, very handy if you do bugger off abroad, especially if, like me, your linguistic skills are just about good enough to cope with a single language, and that's only when you're stone cold sober. But anyway, if you happen to want more of my random ramblings about OneUI 7, I've shot a full Galaxy S25 family tips and tricks video, which is live right now. You can possibly get to that by clicking up here somewhere, although I'm willing to bet my left nut that I completely forgot to add that link. Now, the Galaxy S25 Edge essentially sports the same 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED display as the Galaxy S25 Plus, and it is once again a cracker. You know, Quad HD Plus resolution, so visuals are supremely crispy, perfect for editing photos on the fly or whatever. And the good news is this display is powerfully bright, so even though you don't have that anti-glare screen, I had no trouble seeing what it was doing even out in Abu Dhabi, where they basically have one type of weather. And that weather is my head is actually melting. The colour output is once again, as you would expect from Samsung, pleasingly poppy. There's nothing else really to report except that twice this past fortnight I've experienced a weird visual anomaly. It's very strange. I can only really describe it as what appeared to be a single line of dead pixels that suddenly appeared around this sort of area of the screen down here. Not quite a solid line, sort of a broken up line that stretched about 2/3 of the way across the display, but it was clearly visible in all of my apps. Thankfully, both times only lingered for a couple of minutes and then completely vanished again. No idea if it was a software issue or a hardware issue. It hasn't popped up again in a few days at least, touch wood. And also, while that in-display ultrasonic fingerprint sensor works absolutely fine, even if the screen and my digits were rather damp, sadly the screen itself can be rather unresponsive and quite bulky when it is wet, unlike some rivals. As for the Galaxy S25 Edge and its stereo speaker setup, well, these boast some reasonably respectable spaffage, perfectly fine for kicking back with some Netflix or what have you. Although I did suffer some Bluetooth issues with this bad boy. First of all, the volume can be all over the place at times. You know, sometimes I'll start streaming to a speaker or a pair of headphones and I won't be able to hear anything. I'll boost the volume all the way up and then it'll be just about audible unless I reset Bluetooth and then it's fine again. And a couple of times I've been streaming music in Spotify and then I've swapped to Audible and stuck on an audiobook and absolutely no volume again whatsoever. Swap back to Spotify, that's still working fine again until I reset Bluetooth. Hopefully just some pre-release jitters because it's not the kind of thing you'd expect from a £1,000 plus phone unless it's a bloody Apple effort. And of course, bugger all surprises when it comes to the performance. Samsung has stuck with Qualcomm and its Snapdragon 8 Elite for the Galaxy S25 Edge. And of course there was mixed results from this with the rest of the S25 family. Thankfully here on the S25 Edge, gaming isn't much of a problem as long as you play in fairly short bursts. Wuthering Waves, for instance, ran with a smooth 60 frames per second rate, even when those visuals were boosted to the sharpest settings. Should probably shoot that sentence again, but I can't be arsed. However, the skinny build means that Samsung didn't have any room to stuff in a proper vapor chamber. So instead, with the S25 Edge, they've gone with tailored thermal interface materials, or TTIM for short. And after just 20-ish minutes of gaming, the Galaxy S25 Edge does get rather uncomfortably hot up near the top end. And this did cause some minor throttling in my gaming action, but the frame rate mercifully stayed stable enough so the game was still playable. And yes, perhaps unshockingly, the phone can get rather toasty also when hotspotting or if you're shooting a good bit of 8K video. So if you're a gamer, you might want to look to the Plus or Ultra models instead. But the main sacrifice you'll make from having this size 0 blower stashed in your pants is the dinky 3900 mAh battery. one of the smallest capacity batteries of any smartphones in 2025. Now, on a fairly casual day with about sort of 5 to 6 hours of screen on time, where you mostly just sat at home connected to the Wi-Fi, occasionally messaging, streaming a bit of music or the odd YouTube clip or whatever, I found the S25 Edge could generally survive the day just fine, although by the end of that day it will be balls deep in battery saver mode. I found it was usually sort of hovering between 10 to 15% power remaining. However, if you are out and about a lot, mostly connected to mobile networks, that does seem to sap the battery a wee bit faster. So I found with similar sort of mixed usage, I typically got around 4 to 5 hours of screen on time before the S25 Edge was completely drained. And of course, if you like to shoot TikToks of absolutely everything you're doing in general life, well, yeah, it's going to survive even less time than that. And any gamers out there are once again not well catered for by the Galaxy S25 Edge. I found even with a full charge, you'll typically get around 2 to 2.5 hours of Wuthering Waves action before it's completely dead. And hey, if you thought you could just bung a cable in this thing and power it back up again in a jiffy, well, get ready for a double dose of disappointment, because Samsung only managed to kit this thing out with 25-watt wired charging, courtesy of the more slender dimensions. And this is backed by 15-watt Qi 2 wireless charging, and you've also got 7.5-watt reverse wireless charging if you actually want to share battery from this thing, kill the bloody thing dead even faster. And so let's finish this delightful wee stroll through my thoughts on the Galaxy S25 Edge with a gander at the old camera tech. And the 200 megapixel primary shooter actually uses that same 1/1.3 inch sensor as the Galaxy S25 Ultra. However, while the S25 Ultra upgraded to a fresh 50 meg ultra wide angle shooter, you are stuck with the basic old 12 meg sensor here on the S25 Edge. Sadly, there is bugger all telephoto option here on the Galaxy S25 Edge. You can only punch in up to 10 times using that primary sensor. Unlike the Galaxy S25 Ultra, for instance, with its dual telephoto setup, which can punch in all the way up to 100 times with its funky space zoom. In terms of the actual settings and features and everything, you're on familiar ground here on the Galaxy S25 Edge, including the ability to craft your own filters using any available photo. So if I'm feeling inspired by the dazzling purples in this photo, for instance, I can then apply that tone to basically any other photo that I want. And of course, if you want to get a bit more involved with your photo shoots, and you've got the likes of Expert RAW and good old Pro mode. But of course, for my reviews, I generally just stick with the auto mode to see what it's capable of, and I don't bother with those filters, although all the same, the Galaxy S25 Edge doesn't pump out natural looking shots. You'll get Samsung's usual saturation using this auto mode with artificial brightening to lighten up those darker elements. Still, high contrast scenes are certainly pleasing to the eye, while bolder colours are highlighted so they appear even more vivid. Although in softer lights, those tones are a bit more subdued and detail levels often drop, and you'll see some noise start to creep into darker regions. Overall, a lot of my ambient snaps did appear quite flat, certainly compared with rivals from Xiaomi, Vivo, etc. But that said, some of my shots taken in absolute darkness came out brilliantly. Portrait snaps are okay, with a big fat asterisk hanging over that statement. Your subject has to remain perfectly still to avoid inevitable blur, while lighting has to be on point unless you want that face to look a wee bit pixely. Plus, the edge detection can be a little overly aggressive at times with particularly narrow focus. And that lack of a telephoto shooter is a bitter pill to swallow at this price point from anything except for maybe a bendy phone. So the S25 Edge does max out at 10 times zoom, and even at this level you will rue the lack of detail. But still, the ultra-wide snapper is actually pretty decent, not given up unless the lighting is particularly cack. And like other members of the Galaxy S25 family, the S25 Edge has the ability to shoot up to 8K resolution footage at 30 frames per second, otherwise 4K at 30 or 60 FPS with HDR enabled. And if you swap into Pro Video mode, you do have some extra tools, including the ability to shoot in log for a good bit of post-editing action. And I have found that pretty much all of my Ultra HD footage looked rather splendid as usual. You got plenty of detail packed into every frame, while the S25 Edge copes well when having to adjust the focus and the exposure levels on the fly. Only occasionally did I see any real saturation in my test footage, usually with strong contrast. and rarely when I had those HDR smarts switched on. You can zoom smoothly if you like using Samsung's upgraded slider, although I would quit at around the 4 to 5 times zoom mark because otherwise things get rather fuzzy. And certainly don't bother switching to the ultra-wide angle shooter in darker situations because your footage will look like you're walking around a cave with a bag on your head. But audio pickup is clear in the vicinity of the S25 Edge from all directions, as long as there's not too much background bugger-aboutery to contend with. Of course, Samsung has chucked some AI tools on here like Audio Eraser to try and sort out that background bollockry. As you can hear this video, can't really hear what the characters are saying because of all of that background noise, so you can swap to noise and try and limit that. And stuff like crowd, again, chuck that all the way down. But unfortunately, even with this switched on, it kind of sounds like everything's just happening underwater. And of course, you've got all those usual AI photo editing smarts on here, so you can dispense with annoying background stragglers from your photos if you like. Rinse and repeat basically to get them all out of the way. But again, I think I banged on about all of that in my Galaxy S25 tips and tricks video, though don't hold me to that. And then up front, you've got another basic 12 meg selfie shooter, which you can use to record up to 4K resolution footage at 30 or 60 frames per second, again with those HDR smarts. Pretty good for your vlogging needs. As you can see, stabilization, not too shabby at all. The audio pickup, again, absolutely fine as long as you're not in a busy, rowdy neighborhood. And there you have it, my lovelies. That is my full final frank review of the Galaxy S25 Edge, a phone that's marginally less popular than P. Diddy or Diddler or whatever he's calling himself these days. And I gotta say, like most people, I am rather confused by the Galaxy S25 Edge and where it lies in Samsung's whole ecosystem. If it had a more basic chipset in it and it was considerably cheaper, then I'd say certainly consider it if you want, a stylish looking smartphone with a gorgeous screen. You aren't too bothered about stuff like a proper hot camera or, actual battery life. But as it is, I honestly don't know why you would buy this instead of, say, Motorola's Edge 60 Fusion, a £300 smartphone with similarly desirable design. You've got another gorgeous display on that thing, plenty of AI shenanigans, and also battery life that isn't total trouser. Anyway, that's what your Uncle Spurt reckons, but now over to you. What do you think of the Galaxy S25 Edge? Do you have your order already placed for tomorrow? Be interested to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Please do poke, subscribe, and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers, everyone. Love you all.